Well, my name is Joseph Smith-Buani. I'm from Sierra Leone, a Sierra Leone immigrant here in Portland. I got involved with the festival in 1990. I was a math teacher here at Cascade, and I was teaching at the Alternative Learning Center with Linda Elegant. Micah Dembro and Mary would both come into the ALC because a good number of their students came to the ALC. We had a writing lab, we had a math lab. This is how I got involved with the festival. You know, when the idea came up, we had some of the first few meetings for the planning in the ALC, you know, and so I got involved from the very beginning, and I'm still a part of it today. The high points of the festival, almost every year really, I get a kick out of, you know, just bringing Portlanders to PCC Cascade or to the other venues around Portland. I have them visit Africa without leaving Portland, and that for me still makes it very interesting. Of course, for me personally, I also go on that trip. So this is a way of learning about other parts of Africa, North Africa, for example. So I'm always excited about the festival. So the festival is about sharing information about Africa and African culture. So there are a number of information pieces, information events associated with each screening. So for example, we have notes about where the film might have been produced, filmed. We have information maybe about interviews with the directors that may not be on site. And we have discussions after the film. We bring possibly people from the countries where these films were made that live here in Portland or live in the area. We bring them so that after the film is screened, we can give the audience an opportunity to try to better understand the film by asking these guests questions. The same thing happens when we bring a filmmaker. If a filmmaker is on site, then the audience will get an opportunity to ask them questions about the film and how maybe the film was put together and maybe what we can do based on what we see in the film. You know, sometimes we need to involve the audience in issues related to the films that we're showing. And so they get an opportunity to ask questions about the content of the film. A festival of this stature now should, at some time when it's possible, when it's feasible, bring more information about the films that we show. And one way to do that is to actually bring the filmmaker. The filmmakers will give a background to the film that it's not possible without them. And so it gives us another, another angle to this sharing. You know, the audiences are excited to have these filmmakers on site to screen their films. And usually the discussions that follow the screenings are really, really great. When John Canny came to screen Nothing But the Truth, it was a really, really great conversation afterwards, after the film. And his introduction of the film and the discussion that followed were just great. Audiences just loved that. This is a month-long festival. It is about sharing African culture, learning African cultures without really leaving Portland, without leaving our home. It's a way of celebrating Black History Month also. And the Black experience, of course, involves the African experience. And so the festival, over 5 weeks now, extends into the first week of March, which is also a celebration of Women's History Month. So these 5 weeks bring African film and African filmmakers sometimes to Portland, and we get to partake in this festival. And so in my thinking about it, it's a trip to Africa without really leaving Portland at all. It's a really interesting experience covering all of Africa now, you know, from North Africa to the southern tip of Africa, all the regions in between. We share film by African filmmakers or filmmakers in the diaspora about Africa, about the African experience. Being a part of the Cascade Festival of African Films is a way of sharing my African culture with other Africans and non-Africans. The African continent is large, but one of the interesting aspects of that largeness is that there's a huge diversity in culture and in peoples. So here in Portland, we have over 24 country organizations. Not all of them show up at each screening, but a good number of them do show up when we have films from those countries. And one of the things that we continue to really work on really hard is to bring these communities into the festival, if planning, if organizing. If we can get them to be part of that in a small way, that would be really helpful. And we're working on that, and we keep working on that. Another thing we keep working on with regard to these communities is sponsoring the festival. The festival is free admission, but it does take some funds to bring some of the filmmakers, for example. And so we look for sponsors around our community, our local community, to fund these projects. And more we're getting African communities involved in this aspect of the film festival planning. So we're quite interested and we're quite excited about this trend to get them not only to come to the festival, but to be a part of the festival planning. Another part of the festival is that we do provide some space at each screening to have local community members bring some of their businesses and be a part of this experience. If you visit an African town, you might see a market very quickly. And so while there are not enough around, we bring some of those businesses. We have tables outside the screening, outside the hall, and they will display their wares. They will display information about their businesses, and they will share. You might even be able to buy some things. This includes African businesses as well as African American businesses, or just businesses in Portland. As you come into the theater, you will pass these businesses in the hallway. And if you come into the theater, you will see that, in fact, there is quite a history of the festival from the very beginning along the pictures on the wall in the hall. Every year, PCC, Cascade, students sort of put posters together for the coming festival. And the committee gets together and selects one of these posters, and that then becomes the festival poster for the year. The selection is quite interesting. It's by consensus, and in a democracy, the African democracy, usually based on consensus, discussion and consensus. And it's a fun event. It's usually an event that's hosted at one of the committee members' home. We get together and we choose the best of the selection, and that then becomes the festival poster. Being part of this, helps me to keep up not just with the screenings of the films themselves, but the planning of it. So I still get a kick out of sharing African culture. I still get a kick out of devoting some time to the planning of this. And those two aspects of it keep me coming. But really, the committee has become a big family. And being part of this family and being involved in this enterprise really is a good thing for me. And that's why I keep coming with it, keep staying a part of it. I hope I can continue to be a part of it. Nothing really lasts forever, but my kids are older now. Hopefully when I'm not a part of it, they can be a part of it, because they in fact can be called children of this festival or children of this enterprise. So yes, I am happy to be a part of it, and I think I'll continue. I believe I'll continue to be a part of it, yes. The uniqueness of the African Film Festival here in Portland is that it has now become the largest of its kind, and it is showing the largest number of films of its kind, and it is also free of charge. You can have this experience without cost so far, and if we can keep it that way, this is a unique part of it. I believe there may be other films, other festivals that may be free, but this has more films, more of the experience that you might come for. So this is partly the uniqueness of it. And the festival is run mostly, all of it, by volunteer help. And so those two things in my mind make it a unique, sort of the uniqueness of this festival.